Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. You realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world. Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain clubrooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30 p.m. local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
Okay, this is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania with our DATV Experimenters Night. And I've got Tony, VK7XTC, in this studio. Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year. I was going to say prove it, but anyway.
No. Don't need to prove it. So, just before we get underway, wish to acknowledge Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the traditional owners of the land and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, the knowledge, the culture and hopes of Aboriginal Tasmania. Now we've got Andy, Mark, we've got Darren, we've got Ben, who is also in the studio, so that's tricky, that's very tricky. Look Mum, no hands. And we've got Ken, VK7ZL from ZL.
Quantum attendance.
Ah, quantum attendance. Ooh, that's tricky. Now, the reason I've got Tony in the studio is he posted to our Discord channel.
Dobbed myself in again. Yeah.
People won't be posting anything because they'll know they'll end up on the in the studio. What Tony posted, you tell us about it.
It's just a 4-to-1 UnUn with a common mode choke for an end-fed half-wave antenna.
Fantastic. Okay. And this is you talked about last week you having your doublet.
I had my doublet for camping.
Okay.
And because you got 12 metres of ladder line, it's just some places where you're camping, it's not practical.
Yeah.
You know, trying to keep it away from metal and off the ground and
Yep.
and all that. So I'm going to try with a piece of PVC tubing at the top of my camper.
Okay.
And the squid pole just fits into it. It's only about 800 mil long.
Okay.
So then you're up about 9 metres to the top.
Yep.
And feed the squid pole from the bottom.
Yep.
And up and out with a long wire, just with a end fed.
I love it.
So it might be easier just to find one attachment point.
Yep.
Instead of trying to find two.
Yep.
And the squid pole to keep it up. That makes 3.
Okay.
When you're camping, and then yeah.
So just use it in a. So this would be at the elevated end.
This would be just above the roof of the camper.
Yep.
And then it'll go up 6 metres.
Okay.
And then it'll go off the rest.
To wherever.
Whether it's going to be a linked half wave, so it'll be 20 metres and 40 metres.
Okay.
With a link in the middle.
Okay.
So yeah.
So
I can put up either or.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to show us?
Yeah.
Ooh, decent amount of ferrite in that.
Yeah, I know. They weren't cheap.
No, definitely not. Now,
I made one with the smaller ferrites, but it'd get hot and then the SWI would run away.
now I think. There we go. Now, if we zoom out here a little bit. So, now this is the.
That's a transformer.
Which is a. What's it transferring from and to?
14 to 1.
14 or 49?
49 to 1, but it's got 14 turns.
Yeah.
14 to 2.
Okay.
So it's 7 to 1.
7 to 1.
7 to
Yep.
1, so
Yep.
then that's 49 to
49.
1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've got a compensation capacitor on here?
To flatten out the SWR at the higher bands.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. And then this is
This
your...
is the common mode choke.
Fantastic. Now, you can see this is a big pen. That's the size of them. And I'll tell you what, there's a fair bit of weight in that as well. So
Yeah.
there's quite a bit of ferrite in there.
2.5 inches across, I think.
So have you run a decent amount of power through this yet?
I ran 50 watts through it this afternoon,
Okay.
and
They get warm?
on digital, the choke's cold, it stays cold,
Okay.
but the transformer gets warm, but it doesn't get hot.
Okay.
But it's fairly warm with
Okay.
the 50 watts digital going through it.
Now, how are you... okay. So you've got cable ties
Cable ties holding them in place.
here and here and
Yeah.
here and here, which go through and around some holes which you've celesticed
Oh,
up.
I've got to do it again now because I took it down to show you. So,
Oh, sorry about that.
but it's got the other zip ties on there, so they're already set.
Yeah.
So you just slide it over the squid pole, and then it comes down and just stops.
Through here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
we've actually got a squid pole in the right there. In the which that'll be the next segment. Actually, we'll go through that.
Tony, given my experience, it's been an absolute sod to get decently rated compensating capacitors for NFET. I'm just wondering where you managed to source that.
I
capacitor
got
from.
a whole heap of gear from a deceased estate, and a guy who was doing valve
Okay,
HF transmitters and receivers,
you
and
did very well then. I'm very
yeah,
impressed by that capacitor.
8 kV. Yeah,
Oh, that's 8 kV. That
100 peaks.
Oh.
Yeah,
I usually struggle to get anything more than 2 kilovolts.
yeah.
Oh.
I've got one that's a bit higher than 8 kV at home too, out of that collection.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got earthing point,
Counterpoise,
Counterpoise.
or RF ground, whatever you
Okay.
want. Yep. And
your
that's,
NFET,
that's the hot end. Yeah.
and then you've got your coax comes off of here.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And it all goes into a very nice little box. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, it fitted nicely actually, nice and tight too, with all the windings and.
And you've got nothing coming back down the coax, so
No, the microphone didn't bite me this time with the counterpoise on, and I didn't have a choke the first time I tested one. It bit me
Okay,
when I was trying to tune up,
right.
and then I go, counterpoise. I put a counterpoise on it, and it didn't bite me. But now I've got this, got the choke on there. It should be
There's absolutely nothing coming back.
no. Actually, you notice the difference now with the choke on it. The noise level's dropped. The background noise,
Okay.
it's a bit lower because I'm using it on a vertical.
Are those ferrites 240/43s or?
Yes, yeah, from Mouser.
Yep.
They're $31, nearly $32 each.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Delivered.
Yep.
So they're FT243. Yeah, ferrite. Okay. So cover HF. So
Well, if you want to go up into 6 meters, you should use the next one up. What's the is it a 30 something? Is it the?
Is it the 30 or just?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got one
up
at
to
home.
30.
It's only this round.
Ooh,
The picture was bloody deceiving when I ordered it.
Yep. Right material, but
Wrong size.
Yeah. Okay.
But this will be okay. This works on. I've got another one with only 7 windings on it, and
Yep.
that works on 6 meters.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
On a halfway for
Okay.
6. So anyway,
We've got interest.
yeah.
Oh no. Well,
it's on
that's
the TV out there, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are permanently mounting this, or semi-permanently mounting
Well,
this.
you can collapse the squid pole up, stick
Yep.
it inside the camper,
Okay.
and this can stay on the bottom section.
Of the squid pole.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it just stays there.
So, just to, as a great segue,
Yes.
I bought in. I also posted to Discord, so I'm doing the same thing. So I'll just point that out.
Okay.
But the thing I posted to Discord was a very collapsed in large tube of end of the squid pole. The Mt Wellington activation that I did on Saturday,
Yeah.
which we're actually going to look at the pictures from, not the activation, but the pictures of the inversion layer, a bit later. The end of it, I had gaffer taped up at least twice because I'd stood on the large tube and collapsed it. They have absolutely no lateral strength. But so what I did was I had another one which was in various states of disrepair, and I grabbed the end off the large tube which wasn't crushed because that's got the thread and the cap on it.
Yes, I've got that on mine.
So, and I epoxied it with araldite onto the second tube, the second size tube.
Oh, so you don't have the original one, but you got it.
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
Now the only problem with this
So
is
now it's a metre shorter.
Now it's a metre shorter. So the only problem with this is you now no longer have the ability to put a cap on it. But you can. What I normally do here is
Bit of insulation tape.
no. Put a bit of Velcro, stick on Velcro around here, and then do a loop around it
Okay.
to stop all that coming out.
I was about to say we possibly have plenty of 3D
Oh.
aficionados as well.
To go over.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying.
Ron, I'd love to make you something for that.
So, I've been able to recreate the other one as a full squid pole, and this one as one that's a metre.
So was this a 9 or was
This was a 9. This was a 9. But it's an 8.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I got all 7s.
but that was and that worked really well.
Yeah.
That's all solid. And so yeah, that's.
I've got one that holds up my doublet at home, and the wind blew it over. Like you said, it just squashed it and folded over. So I stuck a broom handle, it was the right size, up the middle of it, put a couple of screws in it, and put it back up.
Yep.
And it works.
Yeah.
It's just got support in the middle.
Because the one that had the collapsed outer,
Yeah.
I never put this second tube up. I left it in the.
Okay.
So it was only ever an 8 metre one anyway, to give it the strength down the bottom.
Yeah.
But when I slid it back in,
So that's where you normally have it mounted.
correct.
Yeah.
Well and truly.
Yeah, I made my mount. Oh, it's about 800 long.
That's a much better idea.
On the camper.
Much better idea. Because the shorter you make it, it puts point stress on the top of the tube, wherever it slips into the tube. So anyway, that's a good segue to a bit of a squid pole that has been a resurrected squid pole, I suppose you'd say. Well, that is fantastic, and I look forward to some reports and some contacts.
Well, hopefully Australia Day weekend. I'm hoping to go camping again. So
Okay.
try it out.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it would take up less room than the doublet because you're basically just looking for a
Well,
line
the length of wire is the same except
Yep.
for the 6 metre vertical part of it.
Yep.
But you've only got to find one anchor point.
Yep.
Instead of 2 anchor points
Yep.
and a point for the squid pole.
Yep.
And then I've got to be at least 5 or 6 metres away from the camper so I can get the bloody
Yeah,
feed
yeah,
line
yeah.
to loop up.
Yep, and not be next to anything or
No,
whatever
and if you've got
else.
other people around you, then they start.
They start going, "Who's this guy talking to the
Well, they
aliens?"
think you're weird anyway. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
No. Or you get Graham 7GS come in and go, "Hey, that's
Oh,
yeah." He recognised the antenna.
That was unreal. He knocked on my door and he goes, "Anyone home?" He goes, 40 metre doublet before he even introduced himself.
There you go. I love it.
He was collecting the fees.
I love it. Well, that is fantastic.
Okay.
And a great bit of home brewing.
Home brewing. You can't beat it. I love it.
And this is the area where you can home brew these days. It's not, surface mount components that flick off the desk and they're lost forever into the carpet.
No, well, as your hands get older, this is actually quite easy.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. That is fantastic.
Yeah, it's just all, besides the toroids, the rest of it's just stuff I had at home left over, so, from other things.
Cool.
Alright, cool.
Thank you, Tony.
Can I escape now?
You can,
Thank
yes.
you.
Thank you. And please, please, please do post on Discord again.
Yeah, all right, next Christmas. No worries, see ya.
All right. Thanks, Tony. All right. Come on, Mr. ISS SSTV picture people. Where are they? They all ran away. So, this is VK7OTC, the club station, the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV experimenters night.
Don't know where Tricky is.
Can you go and find Tricky for me?
He's outside.
Now, let's go to a different camera. That's a bit better. So, I've got Steve, VK7OO, regular contributor in the studio. So, hello,
Good
Steve.
evening, Justin.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Now, there's been an event going on.
Yes.
Tell us about the event.
Okay, so the ISS has been sending pictures.
Okay.
Allegedly since, I think it was Christmas Day.
Okay.
They started the day late. And
Come in.
went through allegedly until the 5th.
Okay.
This is UTC days.
Okay, yes.
They finished
Yeah.
very, very early on the 5th. So they didn't even complete the day. So that made it a bit less interesting, but anyway. And of course they had a 2-day break in the middle because someone turned it off. Or turned itself off, and it takes them, the cogs move pretty slowly when it comes to...
Someone bumped it, I think.
Yeah, the
Right.
cogs move slowly when they need to fix problems. But anyway, it was a good event. Excellent
I
event.
think the repeater was on. When it was off, when it wasn't doing SSTV, I listened
Oh.
on 437.
They probably turned it off when they did. Oh, did they do any schools?
They might have done, because you could hear the repeater was on because I could hear some chunking on the downing on the 437.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They certainly do something like that.
So obviously they've got other things on the schedule and it's not high on the agenda.
Correct.
But it was a good event. It was Series 23, which is on Expedition 72.
Okay. Okay.
And they had 12 images.
Yep.
Now, I'm a little bit confused about this. 2 images from Europe, including UK.
Okay.
2 images from Canada. 2 images from Japan. 3 from Russia. Why 3 from Russia?
I suppose, is it the Russians who are organising it?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think it might have been, because a lot of the press release blurb was in Russian.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Or
I think the
dual,
Russians
dual language.
the Russians seem to organise all of these events.
And the award certificate is in Russian?
You have a look what's on there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Called diploma.
Diploma?
Yeah.
The diploma. No, that's French.
So it'll be in both languages.
Dear. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let me work out how to do this. If we go to... Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
He actually... Oh, you silly boy. Let's push the right button. Push button marked idiot and see what comes out. That is the diploma. I love it. Richard Howlett, VK7ZBX, number 233,807.
Yeah.
There you go. I love it.
I have the same certificate, and
Yeah, I love
in order to get the certificate, you only need to receive one
Yeah.
image, upload it, and apply for the
Oh.
certificate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's easy to get.
Happy holidays.
Really easy to
Russian,
get.
French,
I
Spanish.
did make a comment where you could fill in where you obviously said what time you got it and what date and blah blah blah, and do you have any comments? And I did actually make some comments and said it appears that the way that the pictures are sent is sequentially, like they'll transmit picture number 1, picture number 2, picture number 3, and so on. I said in certain geographic locations it's timed fairly badly, and I missed the same photos all the time.
Yep.
Is there a possibility that on the idea of it could be, turned upside down or have a bit of a random thing or something?
Hmm.
And
It would need to be
didn't get
random.
a response, but
Okay, UK.
Right, yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Thank you.
USA, yeah, that's the other one, USA. But there were 3 from Russia.
Oh, they're
some
Russian.
of the
yeah.
passes were they went from impeccably well timed. So basically, the thing would come over the horizon, and it would wait like about 40 seconds for it to just clear the hills, and it would start. You go sweet, and you'll get a complete picture
like that.
like noiseless.
Yeah.
And then you would wait 2 minutes, and it would just start again. And you go sweet, I'll get another picture, and then you'd almost, you just like, hurry up. You couldn't
'Cause
quite
it's-
get the third.
Because it's 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, 2 minutes on. Is that? Yeah.
Is it
I
2
think
minutes
it's-
off? I think it's a bit less than
I
that.
think
it is a
about
bit
minute
less.
About a
off.
minute, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I think it was supposed to be a 50% duty cycle, but
Okay.
Maybe it's 90 seconds.
I'll
but
tell you
it's-
what,
it's
you
not
didn't
too
do bad
bad.
with those, Richard. They were good.
the ones that came in good, and you can tell
There we
those
go.
little lines through it. I was saying to Steve earlier on that when your antennas are tracking and the S meter's like showing like plus 30 dB, it's like air, and all of a sudden you said, no, the S meter would just drop to 0 and then just come back in the blink of an eye, and you go,
Yeah.
oh, really?
I love it. So, take us through, Steve and then Richard, the equipment you're using to receive them.
Okay, I'm doing the same things I did last time. I haven't improved anything. So I have just an ordinary vertical, which has got a tiny amount of gain.
Okay.
Nothing special about it. I'm using an old 2-meter radio and a fairly old computer running not MMS SSTV. I'm using RX SSTV, which is effectively the same program. That's it. And then I upload those images onto the web, and I also save them. So the whole thing's completely automatic.
Okay.
And that's it. There's nothing special.
Oh, now there we go.
Now that's Tricky's certificate. Sorry, that's his. These certificates are manufactured
Yeah,
by
a guy.
a guy whose name I can't remember. But if you want to find it, it's on the Facebook page for the ISS fan club.
E20ZFD.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you got his name
No.
Okay.
there?
E20ZFD.
Yeah. Yeah, but on Facebook, obviously, he's not using that as his nom de plume. He's using his real name.
I just happened to see, I did actually see it on Facebook and said, oh, you know,
Yeah.
and someone said, oh, how did you get that nice frame?
Yeah.
Oh, I down like this. Oh, sweet, that sounds like a
Yeah.
good plan.
So he makes up the template, and you put your images into it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
I love it. And you've got a complete set.
No. I
No.
I did.
Steve got
Steve's got a complete set.
I was stunned
And
that I
you're
was
missing 3 and 4.
Yeah, I was stunned that I got the complete set, but yeah, because I didn't think I had. I thought I was missing quite a few of them. But when I started
There you
putting them
go.
all together, it was like, oh, I got all 12.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
yeah. So that's good.
And we've just done a loop.
Yeah.
We've just done a loop. So,
Talking with a future amateur at work.
oh yes.
He was super excited. He was down with his family down at Dodgers Ferry at Christmas, and he was receiving the ISS with a handheld radio and using the SSTV app on his iPhone
I love it.
to receive it.
Oh wow.
And he was just thrilled to bits that he could hear
Yeah.
the space station.
That's how easy it is to receive. You
Yeah.
really don't need anything special.
Correct.
But I mean, if you want to get perfect pictures, then sure, you need something with
Well,
a bit of gain and a bit of tracking
yeah.
and whatever else.
If you don't want perfect pictures, Richard will take us through what a perfect picture setup
Some
is.
people just have to go over the top, mate. So because I've obviously had a bit of a satellite background, I've had a set of Maspro WHS32 Oscar Hunter yagis for, I was thinking the other night, probably 40 years.
So they're cross yagis.
So they're cross yagis. They're made by a company called Maspro out of Japan,
Okay.
and we bought a heap of them in the old AO Oscar 10 days.
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
And they were like a lot of money.
They
And
were bee's knees at the time.
so they're 20 by 20 elements cost on 70, and 10 by 10 elements cost on 2, with a little relay with a delay line that you can swap the polarity between left-hand circular and right-hand circular.
Yep.
And they are sitting on an equally 40-year-old Kenpro car 50 or 400 rotator and car 500 elevator.
Yep.
Which is connected to a K3NG, a very early K3NG.
Oh, one that works.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Too very early K3NG rotor with virtually no features,
Okay.
and just relays. And that talks to an app on the PC called SAT PC32,
32. Yeah, yeah.
which is out of Germany,
Yep.
which is just an interesting bit of software, but it's really quite nice, and it sort of just works.
It's not stupid if it works.
G Predict was really good, but I had lots of trouble with my IC 9100 in the early days, and I sort of gave up. So the whole process of getting a passes is, as I discovered, the rotator stop is set to south.
Yep.
So a lot of the ISS passes went sort of from west through south. So I had to do a bit of manual intervention on it a few times, and you sort of go, oh, okay, so AOS would be, about here.
Yep.
So let's go to that point and wait for AOS. and if you were lucky enough to get the first picture, as the ISS drifted towards south and then that picture finished, you turn off auto tracking, run the thing around by itself, and just get it ready so that as it went past south, it would resume tracking.
Okay.
So it needed a bit of human intervention to do that.
Okay.
I'm sure the tracker or the software is able to, because my antennas can flip over on their back. I can do 180 degrees.
Okay.
So you could actually think backwards, sort of add
Correct.
180 degrees.
Correct.
The old SatTrack 3 that I had, the thing that used an 8052 basic chip
I love it.
that refused to function after 2000. It just went
Yes.
no go.
Really? Wow.
Refused to work after
It
2000.
was a chip that failed on in the year Y2K.
And it was the simplest antenna controller. It just had a 12 position switch, and you plugged a serial console in, and you logged onto the thing, and you typed the keypad elements in. There was a guy in VK5 wrote a bit of code that would grab the two elements, put them into a file that you then used X modem to upload.
Okay.
Like really.
Mm-hmm.
But you just go, what's satellite do I want to work? And you just have a little cheat sheet. Satellite number 2 would be awesome. Yeah, track, and
I love it.
it would just work. And it would sort of go, that's going to go through your rotator. Stop. Let me flip the antennas over.
Yep.
And think backwards.
Spot on.
So, a few times I tried to be clever and be at work and leave the tracking going. Of course, what happened is it's tracked down to the stop. Then it's gone, hang on a minute, I've got to go all the way through. Where if a human was there, you'd sort of go, that picture's almost done, I'll just stop it.
Yeah. Switch off the auto track.
Yeah. Heaps of the pictures you'll see are really, really, really good, and then the last bit where the tracker's just sort of headed off. So I don't use a preamp, but basically the RF was fed into an 817, and the 817 went into a digirig.
Yep.
The digirig went in. So like it was. The more I think about it, the more it's a ridiculously complex operation.
And you're adjusting for Doppler as well?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
The filter in the 817 is set it to 145.8, and it's
Broad.
never had any issue. But
Yeah.
I have done it on the
I've
9700.
noticed from the pictures that I've received that some of them were slightly slanted and others weren't. And I'm not exactly sure why, and I can only put it down to Doppler. I don't know.
Always on the ISS passes, I always turn auto like slant correction on.
Yeah, by default I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're trying to do stuff like, again, your automated stuff maybe is a bit of a different ball game. But
So you're using 817?
Yeah.
Okay.
And not specifically because I want to use an 817, it's just because I've got the 9700, which is downstairs set up for EME. And it's like, 817's there. Oh, yeah, that's plugged into that computer. And
but 817 with a digirig, great little digital rig. That's the whole thing.
Perfect. And look, and it worked. It worked a treat. It was pretty reliable. There were a couple of passes where the tracker would sort of go, I'll start to track. It's only going to get 3 degrees. Let's not worry.
Yeah.
But because I've never really connected up the left-hand polarity switches for quite a while.
Yep.
But I noticed that on a couple of occasions there was some really crappy signals from the ISS when it was up in the air, and I thought it should have been better. So I found the cable that was connected to the relays, which had been laying on the shack floor for quite a while. To, as most hams do, a couple of crocodile clips into the power supply. That improved things.
There you go. We'll put a switch on that.
So, after I think the last day I put a switch on. The rest of it was just a crocodile clip.
Okay, that's okay.
So you sit there and you go,
Well, you need to, because I remember reading there were, because I've got the same thing on the Lindenblads. It's just a switch, and there's a push button switch. So if it improves, so it's a momentary switch that I could switch across to see whether the signal improved, and if it did, then I had a push button switch next to it, which I can actually hold it. But the circuit, and I've still got the circuit somewhere, was take the ALC line.
Oh yeah.
And when that gets to a couple of op amps, and when it gets to those thresholds, it actually flicks over to find which is the best, and then it holds with that.
I think that's the only downside to having circular plate. It's obviously circular. Well, I'm assuming that the thing would be spinning. Maybe.
I don't think the ISS is, but
no, it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
No, the ISS is not spinning.
No, I suppose not.
No.
But whether or not it's got it's got a helical antenna, a circularly polarized antenna or not.
But one of the problems that they had on and this was around the time that we did the South Hobart. You were there.
Yeah.
The South Hobart primary school contact. There were some real dropouts part way through, and they worked out that it's actually the superstructure on the ISS getting in the way.
Yeah.
Just like the solar arrays or whatever else just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Because they'd be using fairly basic antennas.
Like
wouldn't they?
it's in most cases it's like a tape measure.
Yeah,
It's
or
like a
quarter wave. or
just
something.
well and truly.
Yeah.
And they don't need anything more because you line of sight to everywhere.
In the very early microsatellites, the old Doves and Oscar 16s and co, they had when they built the first 4, they didn't really 100% agree how the magnetic stabilizers were going to work.
Yep.
So they put in 2 satellites. They put the magnets in one configuration, and the other 2 satellites they put them in reverse.
Yep.
And they were able to look from doing whole orbit dump data of the solar panels, and they could tell that 2 of the satellites, when they crossed over the equator, would flip over.
Yeah. Okay.
And one pair of them would then be in the southern hemisphere. The antenna would be Earth pointing.
Yep.
And then the other 2 would be sort of pointing
Space
away.
pointing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they experimented, but because they didn't really quite know what it was going to do. Like one train of thought said, "Oh yeah, opposing and attracting and blah." And they went, "Well, we don't really know how about we do these 2 like this and these 2 like that, and we'll be able to tell."
That's that funny little effect. I've forgotten what it's called, where you spin something and it spins in reverse and then spins.
Coriolis.
Yes.
Yeah.
In zero gravity, done with a wing nut. Look it up on YouTube because they spin this wing nut and you go, oh yeah, and then it flips and you go, hang on, what just happened?
Oh, okay. The Coriolis has got nothing to do with magnetism.
No. I don't think it's the Coriolis because the Coriolis effect is the way the water goes down the
drain. Yeah.
most people
or
think
the
in those
pressure
terms.
systems or the direction they rotate.
Correct.
In, yeah.
Correct. No, this is another effect in zero gravity, and it's the video's on the ISS.
Okay.
And the person spins the wing nut, and it goes flip, and then flips over, and then flips back, and then flips over, and then flips back. All of its own accord.
That's got to be magnetism,
I
surely.
should say too that there are a couple of other SSTV missions that have been spontaneously happening. There's a couple of other people keep a look on the AMSAT Facebook group.
Okay.
There's been people reporting pictures from a couple of other microsatellites.
Okay.
One of them seemed to be an amateur experiments.
Okay.
I think there was just a recent launch failure.
Okay.
I think there was a university had built a couple of satellites, and they got the Japanese to launch it, and I think it ended badly. So I think their next mission is going with SpaceX.
Okay. Okay.
Talking about launches, I read an article the other day that what's the typical cost of launching per kilogram into orbit?
A shed load.
They're talking about 10,000 plus.
Mm.
SpaceX are bringing that down to $67.
There you go.
That's just turning the whole industry on its ear.
It's there's Mr. Musk being the disruptor he is.
Yeah, it's just
But they've had
Anybody can put anything in space.
But they've had such a good run, haven't they? Like they had a bit of a pretty sort of poopy run, but like they've obviously looked at what the issues were and they've ironed them out and gone, okay, this is how we need to do it moving forward.
And the recoverable rocket bodies.
Yeah, like landing that stage on that thing in the middle of the ocean is like.
I think
That's pretty bloody impressive.
I think catching a rocket with the chopsticks, and this rocket's like the biggest Empire State Building. It's like, you're right.
Yep. So hey, it's a happening thing.
Hmm.
It's a happening thing. So what I might do can maybe Richard send me the details of the SSTV satellites that are happening right at the moment.
Yes, I plan to actually try and have a listen for them. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, and I will include it in the video description.
Yep.
So people can have a look because it hasn't the
I
ISS
think a
has
significant number of them are like special event type things,
Okay.
and I think SSTV has become a little bit of a favourite thing with a lot of clubs and organisations, And in fact, they've only recently had an event where they did 1296
Oh, okay.
EME
Yeah, yeah.
SSTV.
Yep.
And people were capturing pictures off the moon on 1296 because
Wow.
one of the club stations was like a 26-metre dish.
Club station. Like that's like us having Mount Pleasant. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that they would, the university might come to.
I don't know whether they'd be too
come
keen
to,
about running a couple of hundred watts at the feed.
You'd have a chat with a university friend about common view.
That's one of the reasons why when Rex and I got to use it, we ended up running 3 milliwatts at the feed because we were just a bit worried about all of the helium cooled
But that was enough.
receivers.
All that cryogenic stuff is pretty much a work of art.
Anyway, it's just so. Question for you guys: where is the best place to go if you want information about the SSTV stuff?
I think there's the ARIS site.
Yeah.
Okay.
So aris.org
Okay.
/SSTV, I think it is,
Okay.
is a starting point.
Okay.
But certainly not the most up-to-date information.
No. Okay.
They'll
okay.
tell you about what's happening, but anything that's dynamic, just forget about it.
Yeah, okay.
Facebook groups.
Facebook groups
and
like the
AMSAT
ISS fan club on Facebook would be a good one to look
Okay.
at.
Okay.
There's also a very substantial AMSAT Discord as well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Very substantial.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
AMSAT.org is obviously a pretty good place to go. They've got a page that shows you the status of all the satellites,
Yep.
of when it was heard, and
Yep.
you can actually add your own data, so you can basically
Okay.
sort of, put where you are and
Yep.
what data you've got and what satellite you've heard and what mode it's in, and
Okay.
it's a bit of a living thing that it changes.
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Real time sort of. Is it up or not? Sort of.
Well, that's right, and that's where when the ISS stopped transmitting, people were like, "Oh, so has there been an incident, or have they? What's going on?" And sure enough, their Facebook feed would pop up and say, "Oh, look, they've had a few issues,
Yep.
but they should be back
Yep.
transmitting at this time."
Okay.
And it was
Okay.
normally fairly accurate.
Okay. Now, I'll mention this got to go on the WIA news on Sunday. David Giles, VK5DG,
Yeah.
who has been in the studio 6 months ago or so.
Squillion.
He's number 42 in the world on the Satellite Rover category.
Oh, okay.
So somebody who whizzes around the place and gives people grid squares and parks and SOTA activations and all sorts of stuff using satellites. When he was here, he was on IO 117.
Yeah, that's right. That's gone quiet.
Well, it's gone quiet,
Yeah.
and so and the IO 117 contacts that he made are enormous. He made a huge number of them, and in fact, that's what got him to number 42. So he's big congratulations to Dave VK5DG on well and truly on satellite. And
That takes sort of field day and portable operations to a whole level, doesn't it?
next level,
Yeah.
Only sort of
Especially if you're taking 20 minutes in
unless
the
you're
field.
doing sort of world record EME record breaking while going portable.
well, correct. Now we've got the David DBX and David DMG. Hello, and a big hello to Ron up in Halliday Bay near Mackay on the Whitsunday coast. Oh, please.
Don't
Okay.
rub
Yeah.
it in,
Okay.
right?
Righto. He's probably lying on a beach enjoying
Well, let's hope the
forex.
humidity's really high. He's just sweating.
23 down here, Ron. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, it's just great. It's
Lovely weather.
It's although we're doing a SOTA activation on Saturday, which is probably not the right day to be doing it because it's about 30 degrees. But anyway, it'll be cooler up on the mountain.
It will.
Oh yeah, 10 degrees cooler. There you go.
So fantastic. Well, that's excellent, and congratulations for all of the pictures. That's really, really good, and I think I'm getting a message that it's you don't actually need that much equipment.
Well, considering that I didn't do anything special,
Okay.
I just used the same equipment that I used to monitor Thursday nights with,
Yep.
but I just put it on the ISS frequency and let it run by itself.
Yep.
Didn't touch it, didn't do anything to it, and I was quite surprised I got all 12 images.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I think it was the first time I managed to do that.
Maybe I was just poorly organised. I ran around like a stupid person.
And those 12 images are all quite readable.
No,
Had like
note
alarm
to
set on my-
self.
Had an alarm set on my phone over the weekend. I'll be sitting there sort of doing something in the
Whoa.
shed next week. Whoop, gotta go.
Whereas I just turn up and go, oh yeah, I got that one. Oh,
Ah.
I didn't get that one. Oh, that one was all bad. And I deleted the whole pile that had got posted. So no, that's too
There's a
bad. I'll
message
delete
here.
that one. But you know, it's just, oh, what did I get today? I go and have a look. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good.
Which can I just say, when I was doing it before,
Yeah.
that's all I did.
Mm.
It was a quarter wave ground plane on the roof. That was all
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
And I had it set with QSSTV and Gpredict.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so Gpredict was doing the
Doppler,
Doppler. Was doing the Doppler.
Oh, look, I think if you're using Gpredict and you go that extra step up, it's not hard to do. It's just,
It gives you a little bit of an edge. So if you get a bit of a noise at the beginning, it's not quite so much noise because it's not right on the edge of that bandpass
and I think
filter.
Yeah.
what would probably be a good thing, again, sort of trying to chase that extra little bit, is probably have a preamp, like a Mustard preamp, that just gives you a little bit more.
A little bit more gain.
Because I've got probably 18
Oh,
metres
so-
of
so-
cable.
The
Yeah,
disadvantage
so-
for me is that I'm using the same antenna on Thursday nights, and RAF will just blow me out of the water if I put a preamp on it.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Well and
So,
truly.
you know, I've got to come up with something else, and so
Yeah.
I'm going to be obviously running more than one antenna and more than one radio eventually,
Okay.
so that I can do both.
I think a
jobs properly.
I think ideally maybe a small cross yagi with a like. I'm still really keen to build one of those
Oh, the sat knobs.
the SATnet.
Oh, the SART
trackers.
Except you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
get them.
yeah.
You can't build them anymore. They've come pre-built, and they're not making them.
No, but I think there was somewhere I read
Well,
the other day that there's a guy there was a Japanese in the Dubas. There was the Japanese guy.
yeah.
Had a thing that looked very similar.
Yeah,
Just had those
yeah.
small little decent
And
motors.
can I just say, the sat nogs,
Yeah.
all of that is open source.
That's the 3D printed.
That's the
yeah.
3D printed version
Yeah.
of it, and it's very similar to the SARTnet one.
Yep, yep.
Very similar.
I just think if
Worth a
you
look.
had like an element, for 2 metres, if you had 4 or 5 elements,
Yep.
I think then basically you get a little bit of gain, and you get a little bit of directivity, but you don't suffer the fact that it's too narrow. That you have to
Yeah.
be bang on it. You can be within 20 degrees.
Yeah.
And I think if you can build the little tracker, that's like another experiment on itself. But if you can have it, especially the ones that just use the little accelerometer chip that
Yeah.
basically knows
Yep.
where it is, knows
Yep.
where it's up and down.
Yep.
You don't even have to calibrate. You just sort of carry it into your backyard and plonk it on the ground.
It knows where it is.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
Which K3NG actually did. That was quite good because it knew where it was in the
yeah,
world.
that's right.
So you did a little bit of calibration, but that was. I'm actually playing with Goody's CW Kia rod at the moment. He's used exactly the same technique, development
We have all
technique
the
as the
features and stuff where you just-
K3NG,
yeah, you just
and multiple files.
Yeah.
And the problem was, I'm looking at this going, I'm having deja vu in the K3NG
Yeah.
rotator with this Kia, and the Kia. A Kia is a Kia. You can do some certain things with it, but he's built in all this other stuff, and I'm sort of going, oh, okay.
please don't build any more features.
Yeah. And where do I find that? Oh, it's in 3 different places, And anyway, it's
As
Bit
is
of
the
fun.
case.
bit of fun.
Yeah, it's built to do everything, but you only want to do one thing.
Correct. The sort of the Microsoft model where the Microsoft Word, you use 5% of it, but it's bloatware.
It's
And
it's a double-edged sword because by having it open source and having it accessible and having the guy that came up with the concept being so helpful as like Goody is,
oh, correct.
right? Someone will write in and go, I want to actually produce strawberry flavoured things. Oh,
Yeah,
let me
let
just
me do
put that
that.
in. Yeah, no worries.
That's another module.
Let me just have the option so you can make it lime,
Yeah.
or strawberry. Like, so then what happens is someone goes, oh, look, I want it to glow blue. Oh, okay, let's add this, and then it sort of becomes different people add these different features, and then it sort of just morphs into something that sort of gets a bit sort of out of hand, and then things occur and they interact between the modules.
Correct. And
But you're sort of like, ooh.
we've experienced this, haven't we, Richard? because the earlier version that I was using did work.
That's right. My tracker that I've got that I use for the ISS, which has just got a 2-line LCD display,
Yep.
and it's just got relays,
Yep.
and it has got a GPS in it. It's also a bit silly, but it's just got buttons and LEDs, and that's it.
And it works.
And it works, and it tracks nicely. Every now and again, the pots in the KR rotators are a bit ordinary,
Yep.
and you'll find you think, oh, that's not right. Hang on a minute, and you just log in and just do the the O, the full scale, and
Yep.
and it's normally good for a while. But yeah, that one I played with that 4GHZ did with the touch screen.
Yep.
It's got all sorts of cool features, but gee, it's all got some all sorts of odd
Issues.
things too.
Yeah.
It'll track happily, and then it'll go to move that next 0.2 or 0.5 of a degree, and instead of going counterclockwise, it'll start going clockwise. You go,
What
where
just
are you
happened?
where are you going? Yeah. So.
I love it.
And there's something. Look, there's obviously something sort of simple, I'm sure, to fix it. But,
Yep. Okay.
Great power comes great responsibility. As they say.
Well and truly. Now, just stay there. I mentioned earlier that we went up to Mt Wellington on the weekend, and the reason we went up to Mt Wellington was because my son, the cloud was very low, if you remember, on Saturday.
Yeah.
Very low. It was, and so now what do I need to do here? I need to go to there. Excellent. I am learning how to drive this now. So my son looked. We obviously look at Mount Wellington. Whoops. Sorry, that was me. That was me.
One job, yeah.
One job.
One job.
Just one job. And we looked at Mount Wellington, and it was very low. And then Reuben looked at the webcam, and guess what? It was bright sunshine.
Yep.
So he said to me, "Oh, do you want to go up to Mount Wellington?" So we drove up to Mount Wellington. At the end of Pillinger Drive, you drove into the cloud.
Yep.
And then at about the chalet, you drove out of the cloud.
Yep.
So this is driving up in the cloud, and then got to the top.
Look at that.
Now we parked in your parking spot.
Steady on.
In your parking spot.
We don't
Yeah,
need
yeah,
those
yeah. Put out the cones, you know.
foreigners take our spot next time.
But you can see off into the distance, if I zoom in here, off into the distance, you can see the cloud, and lots of little mountains all over the place. Oh, panorama. Lots of mountains off into the distance that you can see poking through the cloud.
Wow.
That just let me get to. Now this one.
Rex to do a bit of inverse light.
This
bouncing.
is to the northwest. So that's off into the... No, that would be off to the west coast.
Is that Mount Isa or something?
No, I'm not sure what that is at all.
Yeah,
It was way off in the
Also,
way off in the
No,
distance.
the one that's tallest mountain in Tassie. What's that called?
Mount Ossa.
That's
Yeah.
That's up the northeast. I think.
Yeah, but you can see
The one at the west coast. That's I know the name of it, but I can't remember what it's called.
here. This is a panorama that actually worked really well, because you can see.
It's almost like some of these shots. You nearly need the overlay of the azimuth settings, don't you?
Well and truly.
Like-
This is Reuben going, pick the SOTA operator. Pick the SOTA operator, because if you zoom in here, you'll see a squid pole go past. Somewhere there. No. Oh, I don't know. Anyway. There's a little squid pole in there. These are actually Reuben's shots that are much better than mine. He takes a much better photo than me. Oh, there we go. Now, there's a suspicious looking blue hat there. And then there's a... Oh, come on. Why doesn't it do that?
Don't let it know you're in a hurry.
No,
Computers can smell
yeah,
for you.
exactly. So we just set up within the activation zone, just up the hill. So there's a bunch of rocks quite up high. Link dipole. Can I just say it was a bit like my New Year's Day SOTA activation, which was B hard work because the conditions
Pretty crappy.
were crap, and they were still crap on Saturday. They were still. Oh, actually, I should have shown this before. That's the squid pole. That's the end of the squid pole.
Oh, okay.
Well, you destroyed it, did you?
Ah,
It wore out.
it's been taped up with gaffer tape twice.
Parlay
Yeah.
squid pole.
Yeah, R.I.P. Squid pole. I think I put on Discord. When I folded the squid pole back up again, the segments didn't go back in, and I sort of pushed them. I went, "Ooh, that doesn't feel good."
If you've ever watched the guy DX Commander videos when he builds those things, I've watched a few of his videos. He goes, "You've got to make the sections and pull them out pretty firmly." And you watch him, and he's like, "Poof," and you go, "Whoa, geez, I'd be worried about it coming out."
Correct.
I just pull them out and just give them a bit of a twist to find the locking point.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, correct. And you know, one of the things I've been where it's been wet. That's great, but the problem with it being wet,
Grip them.
no,
To unlock them.
well, you can't unlock them because they grip so well.
Yeah.
You can't unlock them. That's the issue. Now I'll just finish off on the 5th, which was the Sunday. There was it was the 50th commemoration of the bridge collapsing.
Yep.
Yes.
And during 9:30 to 9:50, I think it was, they lit up the bridge segment in deep blue, and this is what it looked like from Lindisfarne.
Wow.
It's got a real effect because the blue reflected into the water.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was on the 5th, the night of the 5th, and we went to the Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery to see the two cars, the Monaro and the
They were hanging off the edge.
FB Holden, and that iconic photo of the two cars hanging over the edge. So that was good. Anyway, now, just very, very quickly, we will do a space weather report. There's only one. Which, if I get rid of that, there is a HF fade-out warning.
Another one.
Another one, exactly, Steve, exactly. If comms difficulty experienced, try high frequency band. We're R1, R2 with a chance of R3, so we well and truly know that. I looked at my Whisper. I have a SDR, a QDX actually, the QDX that I showed in here. A few ATV nights ago, QDX on 30 metres that sits there on 30 metres. And 10 metres, 10 megs, 30 metres is usually worldwide. It's just an amazing band. It is Australia only.
Yeah.
And that's been that since about New Year's Day.
But there was a brief period yesterday morning or yesterday AM for us where 10 metres opened up to the States and it was absolutely enormous.
We had 6
strong
metres open a
signals.
bit today,
Really
and
strong
6
signals.
metres. There was a VK3 fella worked into Italy the other night, and it came and went in minutes.
Like that. The magic band.
Like just,
You just got to be there and
I saw that guy from Sweden call on 6.
Yep.
And I decoded him at
SM6.
minus 22.
Yep.
And I called him, and he responded, at plus 4.
Oh.
So then I responded again, and I never saw his
Again.
But I just sort of came in and...
So did you get his signal and he got your signal?
No, we both missed. I didn't get to send the Roger 73, so
okay.
there was nowhere near a contact.
Oh,
But it was the typical 6
know.
metres, like really weak, really strong, really weak, gone.
gone.
Like,
And you got to be there at the time.
But if you watch them on the waterfall and you can see some just fade in and fade out
Oh.
and they fade in and
For
they
sure,
fade
right,
out.
mate.
And it's quite rhythmic.
A QSL card, I got my
Yeah.
first European 6 metre QSL card.
Oh, wow. Okay. I love it.
Mm.
I love it.
So what's more exciting, I got a QSL card from Wales,
Yep.
from Cardiff,
Yep.
for sort of Tingy me, and one for Belgium on 6 metres. I'm like, straight to the pool.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just remind people, next week we won't have a DATV night, but we are having a forum night on N1MM, the logging program. So if you're up to speed with N1MM,
Please come along and enlighten us.
please come along and enlighten us, well and truly. It's a bit like what we were talking about before. It does everything. But we only sort of want to use a little bit of it. So that's.
So is there a Dum Dums version of it?
Well, there is some good YouTube videos on it, I have to
That's
say.
the thing. It's like that log 40M2. Like that's really good
Yep,
too.
okay.
Unlike a lot of the other logging things. And like it's really cool when you can type in, VK7ZBX and it comes up and the last 20 times we worked and what the grid square is and all that. And I don't want that. I just want it to remind me in 3 hours that I can talk to this guy again.
Correct.
Yeah.
And of course, N1MM is great for the big contests but we just want it for our field day contest, or we just want it
It'd
for
be
our.
much easier to just get rid of CW and Richie.
They're religion wars.
But I'm sure that you could continue to use VKCL. Take the Calibrio file that exported that you're going to upload, and then
just
get into it and edit it to make it look like an N1MM file.
Which
It shouldn't be that difficult.
can I just say is exactly what I did with Yakul. You remember that log wasn't accepted because they couldn't decode it. I recreated that log in the format that it needed, and they accepted
It's
it.
only a text file.
Correct.
They just obviously need to be able to read it in to their
The
logic.
VK contest logger, well and truly. So yeah. Okay, you did get a comment from Peter 3MV.
Sorry, I didn't read
Hang on, CW rules here.
Well, there's probably, to be brutally honest, there's way more people probably using CW than are using Richie.
And can I just say, at the moment,
I'm
there's
still
probably
on
more
Richie.
people doing CW because every other mode you can't get through on. But CW gets through. So, excellent comment, Peter. Excellent comment.
FT8 gets through.
Oh, correct.
Don't start that war.
Yeah. Okay, we'll stop it there. So the 15th, so next Wednesday the 15th is our N1MM forum, starting 7:30, and we will be streaming it. The next Sunday after that, now, can I just say the Saturday after that is the field day, is summer field day. The Saturday, so the Saturday's field day, Sunday is the 19th. From 11 a.m. is the mother of all car boot sales down here, and sausage sizzle, and we're going to be selling collapsible masts as well. So come along and grab your 5.4 metre or 8.1 metre aluminium collapsible masts.
Are these like aluminium squid bowls?
No, not quite. They're a bit more robust than
Comes with a
that.
cheap TIG welder.
Well, I saw a TIG laser welder. So a laser welder actually uses a laser to do the melting. On special for $49.99 US, and I just went no.
And you wouldn't get that through water control anyway.
You just wouldn't get that. I just sort of looked at that and I went, you know what? That's just too good to be true. Anyway.
Buy now.
Yeah, buy now, and your free set of steak knives will be in the mail.
Just enter credit card details and your CDC.
Oh, correct. And you'll find it's actually they've left a few zeros off it.
It's like the old adage, isn't it? If you send me $50, I'll send you instructions on how to make $1 million.
Yep. And there's the first one. The instruction is get people to send you $50. Anyway, all right, on that note, this has been the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night, Wednesday Experimenters Night. VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. And thank you to Steve and Richard, who have been in the studios. So, in true to Ronnie's...
Matching Ivy shirts.
Yeah, well, I'm feeling a bit left out
Yours is a
here.
bit new, mate. Yours...
Well, that's why I put the jacket on. Try and hide it.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually sweltering a lot.
Do you do any work?
I actually did work today. Get off.
Okay. All right. On that note, 73 from me.
73 for me.
73s.
Cool. We'll catch you next week.